It's 2 a.m. The house is silent. The world outside has gone still, and you are wide awake. Not tired, not restless, just awake. Your mind is sharp. Ideas are flowing. For the first time all day, you can actually think. And then the guilt creeps in, and you're thinking you should be asleep. Something is wrong with you. Successful people wake up at 5 a.m. Everyone knows that. Here's the truth no one tells you. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you're not undisciplined. You may be biologically engineered to come alive when the sun goes down. By the end of this video, you'll discover the evolutionary survival instinct still coded into your DNA, why night owls score higher on specific intelligence and creativity metrics than early risers, and the one psychological shift that lets you reclaim your energy without ever forcing yourself into a 5 a.m. alarm that was never built for your brain. Stay with me. This is about to change how you see every unproductive night you've ever blamed yourself for. Let's start with a word most people have heard but never truly understood. Chronotype. Your chronotype is your body's internal scheduling system, the biological blueprint that determines when your energy, alertness, and hormones naturally peak. It's not a habit. It's not a preference you picked up from bad routines. It's hardwired. At the center of this blueprint sits a gene called PER3, short for period 3. This gene helps regulate your circadian rhythm, the internal 24-hour clock that governs when your body releases melatonin, when your core temperature drops, and when your brain decides it's time to power down or power up. Research on PER3 has found that people carrying certain variants of this gene are biologically predisposed toward eveningness, a stronger pull towards staying alert later into the night and waking later in the morning. This isn't a character flaw. It's genetics doing exactly what genetics do. So when someone tells you to just go to bed earlier, they're essentially telling you to change your blood type through willpower. But here's where it gets fascinating. Evolutionary psychologists have proposed something called the Sentinel Hypothesis. Picture an early human tribe thousands of years ago sleeping together in the open. Danger didn't sleep. Predators didn't wait for sunrise. A tribe where everyone slept at the same time was a tribe left completely exposed in the dark. So evolution built in a solution: variation. Some members of the group were biologically wired to stay alert later, natural sentinels watching over the group while the early risers slept, only to hand off the watch as the sun came up and the early birds took over. In other words, your late-night alertness may be an ancient survival mechanism. For thousands of years, someone had to be the one still awake at 2 a.m. That someone may have been your ancestor. You're not malfunctioning. You might be running a program older than civilization itself. Now let's talk about why so many night owls feel like a different person after dark. Sharper, freer, strangely more creative. During the day, your prefrontal cortex, the brain's control center for logic, self-censorship, and rule-following, is running at full strength. It filters your thoughts, keeps you appropriate, and shuts down ideas that seem too strange or unconventional. But as the night wears on, that executive control naturally loosens. The mental filter that spends all day telling you that idea is stupid, stay on task, follow the rules, begins to quiet down. And when the gatekeeper relaxes, creativity walks through the open door. This is why so many writers, musicians, and inventors have historically done their best work in the dead of night. It's not myth, it's neuroscience. With reduced inhibition, the brain becomes more willing to make unusual connections between distant ideas, a cognitive process researchers call divergent thinking, the foundation of creative problem-solving. Several studies exploring the link between eveningness and cognitive performance have found that night owls tend to perform better on tasks measuring reasoning, processing speed, and creative insight, particularly later in the day when their internal clock is finally in sync with the demands being placed on them. So the popular image of the lazy night owl and the sharp early riser isn't just outdated. It may be reversed for a significant portion of the population. You're not distracted at night. You're finally operating at your biological peak, but not every late night is your biology working for you. Sometimes it's your mind fighting back. There's a term for this: revenge bedtime procrastination. Here's the psychology behind it. You spend your entire day being controlled by your job, your boss, your responsibilities, your inbox, your family's needs. From the moment you wake up, your time isn't really yours. So when night finally falls and the demands stop, something in you rebels. You delay sleep, not because you're tired enough to stay up, but because staying up feels like the only form of freedom you have left. It's not procrastination in the traditional sense. It's reclaiming autonomy the only way your schedule allows. The problem? This revenge comes at a cost. Constantly living out of sync with the sun creates what researchers call social jet lag, the chronic mismatch between your internal biological clock and the schedule society demands of you. It's the same disoriented feeling as crossing time zones, except you never actually go anywhere. You just live permanently misaligned. And late at night, your brain becomes especially vulnerable to something else: dopamine seeking. With willpower depleted from a long day and the prefrontal cortex's filters relaxed, you become far more likely to chase quick hits of stimulation. Another video, another scroll, another episode, anything that delivers a small reward without requiring effort. This is also when emotional regulation weakens. Studies on sleep and mood consistently show that late-night hours combined with fatigue make people more vulnerable to rumination, anxiety spirals, and catastrophic thinking. The quiet that once felt peaceful can quietly turn against you. So the question isn't just why are you up so late, it's is this your biology thriving, or your mind quietly begging for control it doesn't get during the day? That distinction changes everything. So how do you work with your night owl brain instead of constantly fighting it? First, protect your peak hours. If your mind sharpens after dark, stop scheduling your most demanding creative work for 8 a.m. Save your deep focus tasks, writing, strategizing, problem solving, for the window when your brain is naturally most alert. Use your early hours for low-stakes, repetitive tasks instead. Second, create a wind-down ritual, not a bedtime rule. Instead of forcing an artificial cutoff, build a sequence that signals transition to your brain. Dim lighting, no screens for the final 30 minutes, something calming. This works with your rhythm instead of against it. Third, separate revenge procrastination from true night owl energy. Ask yourself honestly, am I staying up because I'm mentally engaged and productive, or because I feel like I deserve this time after a draining day? If it's the second one, the real fix isn't an earlier bedtime. It's reclaiming small pockets of autonomy during your day so your nights stop having to compensate for it. Fourth, reframe the guilt. You are not lazy for thinking clearly at 11 p.m. You are not undisciplined for feeling foggy at 7 a.m. Chronotype misalignment isn't a moral failing. It's a mismatch between your biology and a schedule built by and for early risers. The goal was never to become a morning person. The goal is chronotype alignment, designing a life that works with your internal clock instead of constantly apologizing for it. Here's the takeaway. Your late nights aren't a flaw to fix. They're a biological signature written into your genes, refined by evolution, and expressed through a mind that comes alive when the world goes quiet. The world may run on early mornings, but your brain was built to guard the night, and there is nothing wrong with that. So tell me, what time does your mind actually wake up? Drop your usual bedtime in the comments below and let's see just how many night owls are really out there.